Megarica
Hello
Center.
friends, this is a 75-year-old
no
gentleman
way.
who has this brown cataract which is about grade 4 to grade 5 nuclear sclerosis. He's
is
undergoing
that?
phecomulsification. Patient is quite cooperative, so we're going to do it under topical anesthesia. Of course,
What
the
is
main
that?
challenge in this case is to deal with this hard nucleus, and
What is
dividing this
that?
into smaller fragments is going to be a challenge.
That's
The
an
good part
eye.
in this case is the cornea is extremely clear, the visibility is not an issue, and pupil is also very well dilated. So these are the good things which are encouraging. The capsule is stained with trypan blue. In these cases, the visibility is going to be a challenge because of this muddy looking cataract. So the trypan blue staining does help in identifying the capsule pretty well. The goal is to get at least a
What
5.5
the
millimeter
fuck?
excess, because a smaller excess is not going
What
to
is
be
that?
good for
What is he
managing
moving?
this
What
nucleus.
is he moving?
So it's imperative that we have
That's
to have at least
inside of the eye,
5.5
bro.
millimeter
He went.
or more
He's
sized
inside of the
rexus,
eye. He doing
and
this
I
inside
think
the-
I've got a decent sized rexus in this case. The biggest challenge is now to divide this nucleus into smaller fragments. As is customary
That's
for
an
me
eye,
to do in
dog.
these dense
What the
cataracts,
fuck?
my
Why is it
standard
spinning?
go-to technique
Why
is
is it
always
spinning?
to a central.
Why is it spinning? It's in his eye, bro. Oh my god. Oh, shit. Fuck.
Trench or create a small central pit which gives me access to the central core of the nucleus, and then I
What the
can go and
fuck?
do my vertical chopping.
Bro,
So
that's
for
like
doing
a
this
mineral.
trench, I'm going to
That's
use
like a
just
mineral.
continuous torsional energy for sculpting out the central part of the nucleus. And it's
What the
about 3
fuck is
millimeter
that, bro?
in
This guy's got a
diameter,
diamond
and the
in
depth
his
would be
eye.
around
This
60%.
guy's got emerald in his eyes. What the fuck? How? How? He can't see.
Now is the
after
time
that.
to start doing the vertical chop. The settings
He
are
just
changed to
dug a hole
longitudinal
in the
burst mode,
inside
and
of
these
it.
are the settings.
Bro, he just did a he just dug a hole in the middle of this motherfucker's eye. Dude. I don't understand how it's possible to keep your hand this still while operating. Like if he shaves 1 second apart, it rips apart. I think it's probably like a robot that he can move, right? Because it has to be very precise.
I ensure that the tip is
How?
completely buried, and as I'm attempting the vertical chop, you can see that the nucleus is experiencing torque. So the grip is not great, the grip slips, so the separation is not complete. I
What the
come back
fuck?
and re-engage the tip in a
What the
different part of the
fuck?
nucleus, and
What?
then now I can perform the lateral
my
separation
God.
maneuvers.
Oh my God.
Although
Oh
we can
my
clearly
God.
see
Oh
that
my God, I'm
the
gonna see his
central
brain.
portion of the
Oh my
posterior
God, I'm
plate
gonna see
is
his brain.
extremely thick and
Oh my God,
tenacious
I'm
and
gonna
is
see his
refusing
brain.
to give way. I just leave it there, rotate the nucleus, and then I'm trying to bury the tip into the nucleus, and the entire tip is buried. But again, when I'm trying to chop the nucleus vertically down,
He's trying
we
to
can
chop
see
the
that there
nucleus
is
vertically
significant torque in the nucleus, and this is not good. So I just come out again, re-engage the nucleus in a more
This is not
superficial part of
Oh,
it,
just
and then
re-engage.
re-attempt
Just
the vertical
re-engage,
chop.
bro.
In this case,
Yo, bro,
I'm
just
successful
re-engage.
in preventing the torque, and the chopper goes down, and then the lateral separations
Oh my
maneuvers are
fucking
being
God.
done.
Oh my fucking
Time
God.
to
Oh
perform
my
the
fucking
chop
God,
in the
bro.
adjacent
Oh my
fragment,
fucking God.
and
Oh
the
my
tip is
God.
buried,
What the
and
fuck?
I'm going
That's
to
an
do the
eye.
lateral separation maneuvers now. Now mind you,
Oh
this
my
was a
God, bro.
central
He's got a
thick
cave
posterior
in
plate,
his
and you can
eye, dude. He's
see
digging
how
for
thick
emeralds.
and tenacious this is. So it's
That's
going
an
to take a
amethyst
lot
right
of
there.
patience and perseverance to eventually break this posterior plate attachment.
Oh
This
my God,
large
bro.
fragment is then subdivided into two smaller fragments. I'm trying to do these
Oh my
maneuvers of
God,
and
he's
placing
ripping
the
something
chopper
apart
in
in
a
his
much more
eye.
posterior
Bro, he's gonna
plane.
have a
The
hole.
iris is trying
He's
to
gonna
come
have
out
a
to the side
hole
port.
in his
So
fucking
time
eye.
to come out. I'm just injecting a little bit of phenocaine to ensure that
Oh.
the iris behaves a little
Oh.
better, and
Oh.
time to replenish the.
Oh, he just injected a little bit of lidocaine, so it behaves a little better, bro.
OVD.
Yo, this is wild, dude. I didn't know that was cataracts. I
By
didn't
using
know
a Sinsky
cataracts
hook
was
and a
this.
chopper, I just go down and confirm that the posterior plate is well and truly cracked, and we've got two distinct heminucleus. And now is the time to perform the same maneuvers in the second heminucleus. Again, the challenge of the torque is going to be there
Yeah, he's
initially in the
spinning
first
it.
two fragments, but
There's something
in the
spinning
second
inside of the
heminucleus, these
eye.
challenges won't be there. It's easier for us to go in
Dog,
and bury the tip and
is that
perform
like...
the vertical chop maneuvers. Such cataracts demand a lot of patience from us and a lot of care. And it's just a
By
matter
the
of
way, that's a
being a little bit
tiny
more
ass fucking
focused
tool.
and
That goes into
persistent,
the
and
eye, bro.
eventually
That's
most
in
of
the
these
eye.
cataracts can be broken down quite comfortably. The second heminucleus has now been divided into
Oh
three
my
smaller
god.
fragments. The settings are again changed to the quadrant removal mode, and where I'm going to use just the torsional
And now
in
you gotta eat
continuous
it.
mode, which is
Now
extremely
you gotta eat it.
effective in
You
cutting
gotta
down
eat it,
these
bro.
fragments into smaller pieces
Look, it's
and
sucking
then
it. It's sucking it.
emulsifying it. So in a couple
Oh
of
my
minutes,
god.
the
Oh
first
my god.
heminucleus is
Oh my god, it's
totally
eating it.
emulsified,
Oh
and now we
my
are left with
god.
the second heminucleus. Each of these fragments is then grasped and
He
brought
ate
and
it,
pulled
bro.
up at the level of the rexus margin and then being emulsified.
There's a fucking thing swimming in it.
So if you are
Nah, this
able to
person
control
blind.
the amount of energy which is delivered in a much more controlled manner
There's no
using
way
the
this
foot
person can
pedal,
see.
we can minimize
Yeah,
the
those are
amount of
fragments, bro.
turbulence and
Yeah, look,
chatter
he's
which
eating
can
it. He's
happen in these
eating it
cases.
now.
And if the plane of
Oh
emulsification
my
is right, and
god.
if you can
How do
control
they
the lens
even
chatter
find
and
out that this
turbulence,
is okay to
usually the
do?
endothelial damage will be very minimal. So we'll have a clear corneas in the first post-op day.
Oh my fucking god.
I'm using bimanual irrigation aspiration to perform cortex aspiration.
And then
Again, we need to be
he's
mindful that these long-standing cataracts with very hard nucleus, the bag and the capsule will be slightly fragile.
he's
We need
drinking
to
the
be
capsule.
mindful of this when trying
He's
to
drinking the
aspirate the
capsule.
cortex, because we've done a good job until now and we shouldn't lose it while
He's breaking the
performing this
capsule that
cortex aspiration
encapsulates
by
the fucking
breaking the
cataract.
posterior capsule.
You know
So
what?
being a
It's
little bit
interesting how
watchful.
the body does that, bro. The body does that with zits and shit like that. Like if you have a fucking like zit, it like encapsulates it, and then you also have to take out the bag. Otherwise, it keeps growing. Bro, this is
Definitely does
wild.
help.
I
The
didn't know
posterior
this
capsule
was
is being
cataract.
flushed with BSS just to clean off any of the
And he's
remaining
cleaning it up.
fibers. The capsular bag looks to be clean and nice. Now is the time to implant the intraocular lens. A single piece hydrophobic lens is being implanted into the
Oh, he's
capsular
adding
bag.
a lens now. Oh my god, he's gonna make this guy see.
The
Oh my
OD both in
god.
front and behind the lens is
adding a
irrigated
lens.
out. The lens
'Cause-
looks to
'cause,
be
like, the lens
nice
used to be
and
the
well
cataract
centered. Time to close. The side
Wow.
ports and the main incision is hydrated, and that's it, the case is done. These are the first day post-op pictures, and the cornea is clear and the patient is doing fine. To summarize, in these dense cataracts, it's always a challenge to divide the nucleus. It would not be wise to
Bro, this
imagine
guy
that
is a
the crack
magician.
is going to happen in
This
the
guy
first
is a
attempt itself.
magician.
It's
Dog,
going to
this is
require
magic.
multiple
This
attempts
what?
or menu. Crack is going to
First
the case
day
is done.
post-op.
These are the
Damn, bro, modern medicine is insane. This is first day post. This is how it was, bro. And this is one day
ports
after.
and the main incision is hydrated.
What?
And that's it, the case is done.
It's
These are
it's a perfect eye. It's a perfect eye, bro. It's literally perfect.
the first day post-op pictures, and the cornea is clear and the patient is doing fine. To summarize, in these dense cataracts, it's always a challenge to divide the nucleus. It would not be wise to imagine that the crack is going to happen in the first attempt
Dude,
itself.
modern
It's going to
medicine
require
is-
multiple attempts or maneuvers of lateral
Modern
separation to
medicine
eventually
is-
get a full thickness
Holy
crack.
Jesus
In this case,
Christ.
you could clearly see
This
that
person
the
had a
first two
cave in
attempts
their
of
eye.
chopping the nucleus were
cave,
not
bro.
so successful,
It was
simply
this thick, that
because
shit,
of the
bro.
torque
This
which
thick. I
was
could see his
being
brain.
induced when I'm trying to do the vertical chop maneuver. This happens because if the hold of the nucleus is not
Yo, it must
good
be-
enough. So what I
Dude.
did was I came out and
Dude, it must be wild to see that shit happen in your eyes as they're breaking it. Imagine what you must see, right? You go from not seeing anything because like the cataracts is covering everything, so you can't really see shit, into like it cracks and then you see everything, and then and then they lens and then you see perfect.
re-engage the nucleus
this
in
is
a
insane.
different
This is
part,
really
and
impressive.
then when the grip was good, the
That is
extent
impressive.
of torque was minimized. So this was noticed
That
in
is
two
impressive.
instances in this case. The first chop and also the second quadrant chop also we
The
noticed
brown
this.
of the
So
eye
what I
is
did was
expanded. You
again
can
place
see it.
the phaco tip
You're
in a slightly more
right.
superficial manner,
You are
and then
right.
during the
This
vertical
is the
chop
brown
maneuver,
of the
the
eye,
extent of
bro.
torque was
You're
minimized.
right.
So this was something to
It went
note in
from
this
this
case. In these cases, the
to-
most important asset the surgeon must have is
Bro,
patience
you're
and
right.
his ability to persist and be very calm, and eventually most of these cataracts can be broken successfully into smaller fragments.
Wow.
So that was it. Thank you for watching and
Wow.
hope you found this helpful.
Dr. Deepak Magur. Dr. Deepak Magur. Yeah, it's hard to even imagine how people figured this out. This even worked. It's like you're destroying the eyeball itself. Yeah, this is like. Do not let your cataracts get this bag. Mature brunescent cataracts. Like, this one is miserable to remove for the surgeon and the chances of significant complications. Yeah, no shit, bro. The phaco lens, this tends to get regular eye checkups. I mean, some people just don't have the money, bro. Now if you really want to fuck a day up, watch that gender reassignment surgery Kratos played that time. Did he get banned from Twitch from playing that? Oof. Yeah, I watched that. I watched that when I was in college, bro. I watched that when I was in college. Yeah. Where they like grab the balls and they cut them, and then they like stretch the dick, and then they go, and they like they make a vagina out of the dung. Yeah, that was. Oh, it was the animated version. No, I've seen the real version, dude. I've seen the real one. Yeah, actually a friend who contacted me yesterday had sent me that video when I was back in college, and I was like, what the fuck? It was really impressive. Yeah, it was really impressive. The thing about the trans surgery though, bro, is if you have a small dong, you can't really do it. You actually need the penis to mature for them to get like the reassignment properly. Otherwise, you can't really do it. Because the depth is like the length of your dong. So all the trans people that are like blocking the hormones, they can't really go full woman. You know, because if the dong don't grow, you can't have the good vajayjay. No. So they're kind of fucked. You know? Yeah. They're kind of fucked. Because if your dung grows, so does your like chin, so does your bone structure, because it comes from like testosterone. Well, it comes from DHT, dihydrotestosterone, which is like the thing that makes your voice deeper. It makes your fucking jaw stronger, your fucking bones thicker, your shoulders wider, all that shit, dude. So yeah, if you take those hormones, you have a hard time transitioning fully. Imagine you transition because you're shit small and you can't even go all the way because you're shit small. It is what it is, bro. Yeah, those people have it really hard, man. Honestly, like legit, no meme. Those people have it really hard, man. Uh, well, they don't have it really hard because they don't have enough testosterone to get it really hard. Well, now I'm just bullying. Dude, I love my play on words. They are so good. It's unbelievable. I am underrated as fuck. My play on words. Yo, Aiden Ross. Fucking take note, bitch. Jesus Christ. My play on words, man, are amazing. You know